This week on Hometown Ghost Stories, Malvern, Iowa, a forgotten railroad town born in the 1870s where dreams rusted into shadows. Malvern Manor, once a bustling inn, morphed into a grim nursing home by the 50s, shut down in 2005 for neglect. Now, it's a magnet for paranormal activity. Across the street sits the Classic Cafe, a former doctor's office and mortuary. It is now rumored to be one of Iowa's most haunted restaurants. We spent the night in Malvern on the second stop of our Midwest tour. Find out what we caught during our overnight investigation in Malvern, Iowa.
Hometown Ghost Stories contains serious and often distressing events and is not intended for all audiences. Viewer discretion is advised.
The wooden stairs to the attic creaked with every step. The weight of my feet caused each board to screech in agony as if they were crying for solace. I hated going to the attic, not because of the pitiful wails of the ancient stairs, but because weird things happened up there. Things that everyone who worked at the nursing home experienced but rarely spoke about. There were whispers among staff about disembodied voices, people being scratched by unseen forces, inexplicable scratching sounds, and general feelings of unease as if something was watching you from the dark corners. Something with malicious intent. The attic was dark. There was a pull chain light that flickered dimly on a good day and would often not work at all due to a faulty connection, so I ignored it and opted to use a flashlight. I scanned around the space. The rafters were charred from a fire that had occurred at one point. Some of the wooden panels on the walls were cracked and broken, the floorboards dusty and uneven. The attic was mostly empty, except for a few things that were kept up there since we used them so infrequently. I needed to retrieve a walker for an elderly patient, and all the others were in use, so I was heading up to fetch one of the old ones that were in storage. In the beam of my flashlight, I could immediately see my breath. It was cold up there, but I didn't realize it would be that cold. I can't explain what it was about that realization in that exact moment, but it made me uncomfortable. It was summer, and although it wasn't a particularly sweltering night, it certainly wasn't cold enough that I should be able to see my breath. I pushed the intrusive thought from my head and began panning the light around the space in search of the equipment that I needed, but I was again distracted by something that seemed out of place. I swore I saw something move in the corner of the room. A shadow, maybe a rat or a raccoon, but something about the way it had moved made it seem unnatural. I concentrated the flashlight on that corner for a few seconds, and the shadow didn't come back. Maybe there was no shadow. Maybe I imagined it. I was clearly on edge. I turned back around and jumped out of my skin. There seemed to be something coming out of the wooden slats on the wall on the other end of the room. At first, I was frightened, but that was quickly replaced by curiosity. I slowly approached the area to inspect the phenomenon, when my curiosity was once again replaced by fear. Out of the wall came a shadowy arm, reaching out to me, beckoning me to join it from wherever it was coming from. I'm Dave Wilkins, and this is Hometown Ghost Stories, Malvern Manor, Malvern, Iowa. Our second stop on our haunted tour of the Midwest brought us to Malvern, Iowa. First thing we did was check into our Airbnb, which happened to be an old church. This might have been for the best, considering what we just experienced at the Sally House, and maybe it helped to cleanse us, just in case anything violently haunted or demonic attached itself to us during that horrible investigation at that terrifying tiny little house. But now, it was time to get down to business. Malvern, Iowa. The year is 1869, and Burlington and Missouri River cuts through Mills County. Speculators swarm, smelling profits in the Loess Hills. They named the town Milton. Then, they realized that there was already a town in Iowa named Milton, so
They renamed the town Malvern. John D. Paddock, a hardscrabble Ohioan, stakes the first claim, building a cabin against the endless prairie. His journal paints it stark. Backbreaking days, communal feasts of venison and cornbread, neighbors leaning on each other to survive the brutal winters. By the 1870s, Malvern's thriving, the rail depot humming with cargo that smells of fresh sawn lumber and the sweat of ambition. Mills grind flour from golden wheat, factories belch smoke into the skies, and the population hits about 500. A ragtag crew of merchants peddling dry goods and dreams, and farmers wrestling bounty from the ground. Churches pop up. Schools echo with kids' chants that mask the undercurrent of isolation. The Malvern leader rags on about milestones. The first brick school in 1880, electric lights flickering in 1895. But prosperity, it doesn't last. Panics in the 90s hit like a hangover, shuttering shops and leaving bellies empty. Droughts scorch the earth to dust. Grasshoppers descend in biblical swarms, devouring crops. You'd hunker down in a sod house, gnawing on hardtack and salt pork, wondering if the land was cursed or just indifferent. Malvern survives, though, forged in that Midwestern fire, tough as nails, but with scars that run deep. Then comes the darkness. December 1936, snow falling like ash from a funeral pyre, blanketing the train tracks in a deceptive hush. A freight crew stumbles on Charles O. Shamblin, or what's left of him. Body twisted, head lopped clean off by those merciless wheels. 50 years old, ran a service station where folks filled up on gas and gossip. At first, it screams accident, or maybe he took his own life. But the coroner, Frank Rayner, wasn't buying it. No blood spray from the tumble, just deliberate boot prints in the snow. Two sets approaching, retreating, then vanishing into tire tracks. Shamblin had just pocketed $90 from selling his business, dreaming of Oregon's greener pastures with a couple of shady sidekicks. One of these guys was fresh out of jail, but they vanished like smoke, leaving only whispers of a botched robbery. His wallet cleaned out, body dumped on the rails to fake a mishap. Sheriff DeMoss chases leads through homeless camps and rail yards, but the killers melt away, leaving Malvern with an open wound. Headlines read, "Charles Shamblin met tragic death here, early Sunday." Unsolved, it festers. A reminder that in these tight-knit communities, your neighbor's smile might hide teeth sharp enough to tear you apart. Fast forward to the 1940s, World War II rallying the town with victory gardens tasting of dirt and determination. Post-war, Main Street buzzes with chrome diners slinging burgers, highways paving over the old trails, TVs beaming in the outside world. Today, there's about 1,000 souls clinging to this dot on the map. It has its fairs, its downtown feel, volunteer firefighters whose smell of smoke and heroism, old-timers spinning yarns over coffee as black as midnight. But scratch the surface, and the uncanny seeps out like blood from a fresh cut. 315 Main Street. This unassuming corner, east side, north block, first bowed to the healer's touch. In the early 1900s, it housed the office of Dr. John Klein, a pillar of Malvern medicine. Picture it, gas lamps flickering over examination tables, the scent of ether heavy in the air. Patients streamed in, farmers injured on the job, children felled by diphtheria. They were all seeking solace from a doctor whose stethoscope listened to more than just heartbeats. Klein's domain was a sanctuary, until the winds of change blew in a new aroma. Enter the Parentes, Nick, the patriarch with a mustache for the ages. Ada, his steadfast partner, and young Gemma, their wide-eyed heir. They transformed Klein's clinic into Parentes' coffee shop. From 1938 to 1949, it pulsed with life. Locals nursing a cup of coffee after the harvest, GIs on leave swapping tales of foxholes and foxtrots. The building, solid brick, its bones dating back to Malvern's founding frenzy, absorbed their laughter, their sorrows, their secrets. Economic storms raged outside. The Dust Bowl's echo. World War II's shadow. But inside, coffee flowed like a river of resilience. The Parentes closed shop in '49, but did their spirits ever leave? Decades blurred, the space shifted, whispers of a funeral home, Peterson mortuary, handling the town's final farewells, caskets polished under the same roof where diagnoses once rang out. Old photos adorned the walls, ghosts of commerce past. Then, in 2008, Alicia and Brad came in, hometown heroes with a vision. They bought the building, breathing new life into its veins. On June 10, 2009, the Classic Cafe opened its doors. Small town cafe, big city taste. Gourmet coffee steamed beside homemade pies, local art splashed color on the walls, and the locals flooded in. Storms battered the building in 2023. Tornadoes tore shingles, flooding basements with memories. But the Classic stood tall. A community hub, or so it seemed. But what if the menu served more than just food? What if the creaks in the floorboards weren't just settling timbers, but footsteps from the other side? Reports trickle in like coffee from a cracked pot, utensils sliding across tables, temperatures dropping, whispers in the kitchen mimicking Ada's laugh, and then the catalyst. Is it the doctor's restless vigil over unfinished cures, the Parentes still bound to their counter, or the mortuary's echoes of coffins nailed shut? The Classic Cafe stands, a paradox. By day, a feast for the living. By night, a feast for the shadows. Directly across the street sits a building that we'll be spending the night in, the Malvern Manor. The story begins in the late 1800s. Originally a private residence, but by the 1890s it was purchased and expanded by Julia Betts into the Cottage Hotel. Real travelers found rest here. The building became a social hub. Weddings, funerals, civic events, its walls echoed with joy and with grief. But the good years ended, real traffic dwindled, and the hotel faltered. By the 1950s, the building was remade again. This time, not a hotel, but a nursing home. Later, it morphed into a residential facility for the mentally ill, the developmentally disabled, violent criminals, and the forgotten. Families who could not cope sent their loved ones here, and many of them never left. It became a group home. Dozens of patients filled the cramped rooms, but whispers spread of understaffing, of neglect, and worse. Some claimed that patients were left unsupervised. Others spoke of abuse, psychological and physical. By the 1990s, state inspectors cited the facility for violations, fire codes, safety issues, complaints. And by the early 2000s, the building was shut down. Its doors locked, its hallways left to rot. But when the living left, it seems that the dead remained. So, it was time for us to set up our overnight investigation at the Malvern Manor. For those of you who missed it, we dropped a full investigation video, which can be found on our YouTube page. But we'll go over some of the highlights. The building is massive, 10,000 square feet. So Dave and I started off by investigating the hallway outside of room 2. It's been reported that a tall, nonverbal shadow figure lurks outside of room 2 in the hallway. It's been said that this shadow figure will lunge at investigators and visitors, sometimes chasing them down the hallway before they disappear. It's believed that this could be the ghost of a former patient who was aggressive and used to literally chase the nurses down the hallway. But nobody's really sure. All they know is it's a very frightening experience. And Dave and I set up shop to see if we could find out what this was. Overall, our investigation was relatively quiet. We didn't get chased out by any shadow figures. We didn't even really get any activity on the equipment that we used. We had the REM pod set up, our grid sensor set up, but we didn't get any activity on these. But we did catch what looked like an orb, which seemed to float from left to right towards Dave's head. Now this is a dusty old building. It very well could have been dust, but it could be something. It's also worth noting that I picked up on this orb in real time. I saw it on the viewfinder on the night vision camera. Normally, we notice these things in post and then try to decide whether or not it's an orb, or a bug, or a piece of dust. Can't rule those things out, but it was a little bit of a different element to seeing orbs. Next was Gracie's room. Rob and I set up and tried on her spectacles. Now in life, Gracie was a schizophrenic patient who had multiple personality disorder. Her room was covered in mirrors. Those mirrors are now gone, but her ghost is said to remain. And some of the reports about her ghost are absolutely horrifying. Some report seeing a full-bodied apparition, tearing her hair out and screaming at visitors, as well as demonic growls and frightening EVPs. It's said that when you try on her spectacles, this can trigger some paranormal activity, so we gave it a shot. The amount of activity that we got in this room was actually alarming. We had set up a REM pod on the bed, stood back and asked questions, and it seemed to respond almost on cue every single time. It was interesting because none of this activity really happened until we put on the glasses.
Oh my god, Rob finally looks smart.
Oh my god. Stop saying I am smart.
Oh,
Jesus.
Hello?
That just scared the shit out of me. We're just over here trying to tell each other some jokes. Gracie, is that you?
Hang on, we can't ignore the fact that as soon as you put those on,
That's what I'm saying.
that just went off.
That's why I'm asking if that's Gracie. Gracie, was that you that did that?
Next up, we broke off into solo investigations. Dave set up in the attic, which is supposed to be one of the most violently haunted areas of the entire building. Investigators have reported getting scratched and bit up here, and there have been multiple reports of horrifying sightings of apparitions up here. Throughout the entire time that Dave was up there, however, he didn't really get much. There were a few temperature drops, but we can't really count that as paranormal. The motion sensor never went off, and the K2 meter never seemed to spike. Rob set up his solo investigation in Hank's room. This room is rumored to be haunted by the spirit of an angry old man named Hank. In life, he was bitter, didn't like kids or women, used to throw rocks at the local kids, and now all of that negative energy seems to be confined to his room. Rob made the mistake of making it clear to us that he didn't want to be the one to investigate Hank's room solo. So naturally, Rob was the one to investigate Hank's room solo. He set up our motion detector, which was pointed out towards the hallway, and had a K2 meter that was baselining around 1 to 1.5. As soon as Rob started explaining the room and what was in there, something triggered the motion sensor. And it happened a few times. But then, it seemed to go silent for him. Rob kept on asking questions, with no luck. When Rob finally gave up and got up to shut off the camera, there it was again. The motion sensor was triggered. Viewers also caught the curtain moving a few times. Now, it was a storm outside, so we can't really count that as paranormal, but it was very interesting and eerie to see. I set up for my solo investigation in Susie's room. Now, Susie was a patient who had the mind of a child, and people bring her coloring books and toys and stuffed animals and get a significant amount of paranormal activity inside this room. I sat down with a spirit box and got some interesting communications, including a deep voice that told me that there was something in the attic. When I asked how many spirits were up there, I got a clear communication that said, "There's one." As I mentioned in the video, Dave was doing his solo investigation up at the attic in that time, so to hear that kind of communication intelligently telling me that there was something in the attic was pretty concerning.
Is this your room?
In the attic? In the attic. What is in the attic? So just so you know, as I'm doing this investigation, Dave is up in the attic doing his solo investigation right now. That's so strange. It came through very clear. It said the attic. Are there any spirits in the attic? Are there any spirits in the attic? I got a few names and words that came through the spirit box, and one of them that stuck out to me was something that resembled the name Inez. Now, Inez's room, or the room that's dedicated to her, was a couple doors down. This is believed to be the spirit of a young girl who had hanged herself down the street, and for whatever reason, her spirit has gravitated towards this building. So they've dedicated a room to her, and people bring gifts and toys and leave them here for her. So feeling drawn to that room, I switched gears. I left Susie's room and went into Inez's room. The responses that came through the spirit box in here were fast and smart, seemed to answer every one of my questions. I even got the spirit to identify what kind of stuffed animal was sitting out in the hallway, which was a penguin. And then it seemed to rattle off a bunch of names when I asked it to give me a name for the penguin. If you can say penguin, I'll give you the penguin. What is it? Penguin! Yes! If you can say penguin, I'll give you the penguin. What is it? Penguin! Yes! And it's a f***ing penguin! And the REM pod's going off in the other room. Come here. Come here. I was actually having a lot of fun during this investigation, and was very excited when the word penguin came through very clear. But my excitement turned to terror when my spirit box inexplicably went crashing to the ground. I had it standing up on one of the tables, and I was about 4, maybe 5 feet away from it when it suddenly fell to the ground. I don't know what caused this. I can't say it was ghosts, but I definitely didn't knock it over, and I don't really know what caused that. After seeing that, I wrapped it up and got out of there. Finally, we set up for a group investigation back in Gracie's room. The responses that we got on our equipment drew us back into that room, and the responses we were about to get would scare the daylights out of us. Multiple times throughout our Q&A session, we got the word demon and we got the word devil. And we also seemed to get intelligent responses when I picked up a baby doll. Finally, we wrapped up by saying goodbye, and once again, we got an intelligent response.
In 3, 2, Demon. Oh! Time for Dave to put them on. Can I try on your glasses? Devil. Devil. It just said devil. We're gonna go now. Goodbye. You too.
That's what I heard.
You too. Well, you too. Nice little send off there.
Maybe.
We say goodbye and said you too. Overall, our investigation at the Malvern Manor had its ups and downs. We had moments where we got absolutely nothing, and then we got some moments where we got some absolutely frightening activity. The building, again, is absolutely massive. So eventually, I'm sure we'll return to Malvern Manor to see what other kind of spirits we can connect with. I'm Jesse Wilkins, and this is Hometown Ghost Stories, Malvern, Iowa. What is going on, folks? Welcome to Hometown Ghost Stories, episode number 179, Malvern, Iowa. I'm Jesse Wilkins. I'm joined by Rob Coakley. Hello, Rob.
One of the few locations that we've investigated where the conditions outside were just as scary as the conditions inside that particular night.
Speaking of being scary inside and out, we're also joined by Dave. Hello, Dave.
Hello. Yes, there was a frightening lightning storm and more rain than I've ever seen come out of the sky at one time.
Yeah, it was basically a flood. And it just added a whole different element. Actually, we had to debunk a bunch of stuff during the investigation because you had thunder that was going on, but you also had lightning. So there was a few times during the investigation where I saw a flashing light, and I'm sure you guys did too. And I was like, oh, there was a light flashing in the other room. And I thought maybe it was like a light switch flicking on and off or something, or just some sort of light anomaly, but we were able to debunk it all as lightning. But plenty of other things to go over in that investigation as well. Shout out to everyone who's hanging out in live chat. We got a whole bunch of people hanging out. We got 10 gifted Hometown Ghost Stories memberships from Whisper. Thank you so much. We got $4.99 in super chat from Lockwood and Company, and the great return of Crazy Legs, who threw 10 gifted Hometown Ghost Stories memberships on YouTube. So if you got a gifted membership, make sure you say thank you. And thank you to all of you who are hanging out. And of course, all of the donations are fantastic. And we got our live show coming up on Friday. It's coming up very soon. Tickets are flying. Make sure you join us. We will have vendors. We will have live music. We will have Brent from the Paranormal Portal. It's going to be great. We have it's going to be hosted by Colin Campbell, who's a phenomenal host, very entertaining guy. And it's going to be great. It's going to be great. So we're excited to do that. And obviously, you will also have our live show where we're covering an undisclosed location that we've never covered before. So that's going to be exciting. And then the following night, we will not be doing a live investigation. So just so everybody knows, that event, unfortunately, super upsetting. That event just got, the rug just got pulled out from under us today. So we found out that we cannot do the live investigation on Saturday. We are actively working on a backup plan to try to lock in a very last minute location to do a ghost hunt anyways. But anybody who had got tickets for that, I'm so sorry. Refunds have gone out for that immediately. And as we try to track in another location, we'll keep everybody posted on what we're going to do on Saturday night. Sorry. It will be something on Saturday, but we're not entirely sure what that's going to be. So Oh, that sucks.
Yes.
Yes.
Allegedly,
I
the
actively, we have
ghost
been
of-
on the phones
okay.
all day.
Yes.
Sorry, what were we going to say, Dave?
I was saying allegedly the ghost of Lizzie Borden showed up and threatened somebody and frightened us away.
Yeah, something like that. So some say that Lizzie Borden called the building inspector. That's what they say. But we don't know. We don't know. All I know is it's not going to happen at the location that we had planned to, but we plan to do something. So people are coming into town. It's gonna be all right. We're gonna do something. We'll make it happen. But either way, Friday night live show absolutely still happening. So make sure that you show up for that. It's gonna be good. Grab your tickets because they're going fast, and it's gonna be a lot of fun. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
Did you mention Seth on guitar playing music?
Seth on guitar will be playing music, and we're very excited about that. Obviously, you can hear Seth on pretty much every song that I've ever done on Hometown Ghost Stories. So if you're looking to hear some spooky music for Halloween, go check out Volume 1 and Volume 2. Volume 2 just got released on all streaming platforms. You can hear the music. If you enjoy the music in the podcast, then those are the songs, many of them that got released on the album. 18 new songs. And then there will be a single coming out as well. I straight up just forgot to put the song that I did with Brent Thomas from the Paranormal Portal on the album. We did a song together and then it just didn't make the cut. And so I'm going to drop that as a single probably next week. But either way, the album's out there if you're looking for some scary tunes to spice up your Halloween and Halloween season. Then go check out the album on Spotify, Apple iTunes, whatever, Apple Music. Who knows? Just go look for the album. It's there.
Just see what's on any fruit.
Yeah.
Check out some grapefruits and some, all of it.
Yeah. So anyways, we're talking about Malvern today. A couple haunted locations, very small town. We did spend the night there like we had gone over, did our investigation. If you want to see the full investigation video, which obviously you just saw a couple of clips from it, that is available exclusively on YouTube. So swing over to our YouTube page if you're an audio listener and check out the full investigation at the Malvern Manor. Lot of ups and downs in that one. A lot of interesting communications that we got. Very different kind of location. Huge, huge, huge building. But we'll get into that in a little bit. But we talked about Malvern, kind of the history of it, and relatively brief on the history of the town, but there's some mysterious things that happened there. And really, Malvern Manor as a haunted location was discovered and purchased when the new owner of the Malvern Manor actually went to go investigate the Classic Cafe. And that's kind of the other location that we were talking about. So the Classic Cafe, apparently it was formerly a doctor's office and then a mortuary for a little bit. So there's your reason for the hauntings there. And then multiple families owned it. It seems like after it was a mortuary, it performed as was run as a coffee shop for a while and then turned into kind of a diner cafe that it is now. We actually went there.
We did.
Yeah. And good food. So we
Food was great.
We didn't bother them about the ghosts because it was busy and we didn't want to get in their way. But I guess when this guy, he went to go visit and investigate the Classic Cafe, somebody had told him about the building across the street, which is the Malvern Manor. And then he went over his way over there and ended up buying the place, which is pretty cool. And he said that originally when he went, hang on. I was just going to say, wait a minute. Hang on. This is very urgent update. You guys want to investigate the Josiah Keith house in Easton. Can we do it on Saturday? Send us an email. Let us know. We need something.
We're 100% serious.
Yeah. Anyone got a haunted house somewhere in New England? Let us know. We need something on Saturday. So yes is the answer to that. And can it happen on Saturday? If not, then maybe we'll set something up in the future. But yeah, the Classic Cafe, it has its fair share of hauntings. They get a little bit of poltergeist activity, whispers. There's a little girl's voice. They believe that could be the daughter of one of the former owners. All sorts of haunted happenings here at the Classic Cafe. Now, this guy went in to actually do an investigation, but he didn't realize that the second part of that cafe was like an active bar at night. So basically he had a ton of noise contamination. There was just live music and, just noises from a bar happening all night. So he wasn't able to get much. And so I don't know what we would catch if we were to investigate the Classic Cafe, but it does seem like a cool spot. It's a historic location and allegedly haunted. And the poltergeist activity always gets me. I want to see some poltergeist activity.
Absolutely.
I can tell you what we wouldn't capture if we investigated the Classic Cafe, and that's sugar. We would not find any sugar in the Classic Cafe.
They do have sugar at the Classic Cafe. It was just an interesting coffee order. It was an interesting coffee. Rob asked for sugar in his coffee, and the waitress, who was delightful, she was like, "What do you mean, chocolate?" Rob's like, I guess. maybe she heard you wrong. I don't know, but they were great over there. Food was good. Highly recommend. There aren't many options out there, so make sure that's one of them. And thank God it was good because we didn't have many other options.
So I read the book that was written by the guy who bought the Malvern Manor, and when he originally went to that coffee shop to go investigate there to get whatever he could, he was really frustrated because the coffee shop was too loud and there was a ton of noise pollution in the coffee shop because he was trying to investigate it during hours of operation. And it's a coffee shop. If you've ever been to a coffee shop, obviously there's lots of clanging and talking and whatnot. And he was pretty annoyed by that, and then stumbled across, like Jesse said, the Malvern Manor. But I thought that was a kind of a funny detail. You go to a coffee shop.
I think when he booked it after the coffee shop closed. And I was just talking about how he didn't know that after the coffee shop closed, the other side of it turns into like a bar for the night.
Oh, so that's
and I think that's why. So he did do his, he didn't book the thing at 11 in the morning. I think he booked it for like after the coffee shop closed, but I don't think he realized that there would also be still a side of the business that was open afterwards.
Fair enough.
Either way, I mean,
that would annoy me too.
The Malvern Manor kind of fell in his lap at that point. And he said that they basically shifted gears and went and investigated the Malvern Manor. And they said it was, according to some of the interviews that I've watched with them, it was the most active night of paranormal activity that they've ever got anywhere, not just at the Malvern Manor. So pretty cool. And then it's like, all right, you find this hidden gem. And this is the other thing about the place. And, for people that are watching the video, you could see it. You still see the wheelchairs. You still see the beds, the stained mattresses. There's still dolls and toys, and everything just kind of looks like it's frozen in time. And that's because it is. What they did with this place was they left everything pretty much as is when the building was abandoned or shut down.
So that was the same with pretty much all locations like this. They're state-run facilities. They have the state-run employee or the state-paid employees. And when one of these locations shut down, all the employees, nobody's getting paid anymore. So there's literally nobody left to go clean the place up. So it's as if, it's basically a ghost town inside this building. Everyone just stops what they're doing and they leave.
Yeah. To a point where it's like when you walk around, you're still finding like personal effects from the patients that were staying there. Like if you go to the nurse's station, there's still like little plastic cups with medication in it. Like there's still pills. Dave took all of them.
Okay.
He tried them out. Didn't fix them.
We would try to get him to see a shadow figure any way we could that
night. Yeah, but you still had that. There is a hallway. They call it the bloody hallway, where there's blood spatter still on the wall. And different investigators have had it tested and sent in, and it came back as human blood. It's kind of gross to think about it, but it's dried blood that's just spattered on the wall. We don't know what the incident was. We don't know what the injury was, but there is still human blood on the wall. If you go into Hank's room, in the top drawer of his dresser, I believe it was, his fingernail clippings are still in there. Very gross, but those are still there. There's still clothes in a lot of the drawers. Like it really is frozen in time. And I think that really plays into the hauntings. Like you still have the victims, the patients, you still have their personal effects inside that building.
Well, parts of them. It's not even just their personal effects. It's parts of them in some capacity.
Part of the human body. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
So, when you go in, don't go licking the walls or eating fingernails, so I think it's on the waiver that you sign. Don't lick the walls.
That's right.
It should be.
Yeah.
Here's a situation where they found blood on the wall. They tested it. It turns out it's human. And that's kind of the least surprising thing. Like anything other than human would be more shocking, I think. It was a pig's blood or something.
Well, this is interesting. Dana says that paranormal files use luminol on those blood stains and they did not light up at all. So maybe it isn't human blood. I had heard that people did do tests on them and it came back as human. So not entirely sure.
How long does human blood stain? How long will luminol affect a human blood stain? Like I know it will work for fresh blood, but I mean, if it's there for half a century, how much glowing is it going to do?
You've almost been here for half a century, so you should know, if anyone knows.
Close. 4/5 of a half a century, some would say.
Yes. That's how you should just start giving your age from now on.
Well, this might debunk it right here. Studies in forensic cases suggest that it's effective on surfaces like walls or fabrics for at least 5 to 10 years. So
Yeah,
this
I mean, this
was
is what we're
closed
talking.
in 2005, so it's over 20 years now. So you're double that. Sensitivity decreases over time due to environmental factors like moisture, heat, or microbial activity breaking down the hemoglobin. So, it might just be a useless test nowadays, but
Sure. Still cool to do the test, but I mean, it's not conclusive at this point.
right, it might be on there for too long. Who knows how long it's been there? I mean, you would assume if while it was in operation, they're not just going to leave blood on the wall for 10 years. You know, they're probably going to clean that up at some point. So you would assume that probably happened either right before it closed or after the fact. And who knows how long ago.
We were in there. I don't know if that place has been cleaned in 100 years, just to be completely honest.
Yeah. But, and that sounds like a knock on this place. I like that. You know, again, I'm not going to sleep there. I'm not going to lick the walls. but it adds a different element to it where it's like, okay, this is creepy, and also it's frozen in time. I'd rather have that than a place that's been, you know, you go into some of these haunted locations that have been completely remodeled and you're like, is this even what it looked like, you know, when the family lived here? We have 5 gifted in YouTube from Hannah Rose. Thank you so much, Hannah, for the 5 gifted memberships. Very generous of you. We appreciate that.
Yes. Yeah, but it's such a cool place. And dude, it is so large. This place is massive. We were just watching the video that you put together. I don't even remember the Christmas tree room. I was like, did I even get into that room? Because
you might not have. Yeah.
I might not have even made it to that room because this place was so large. It was such a crazy night with the weather, walking around this place. I think we like vanished from each other for hours at a time. It felt like, just going to do our own investigations. It was crazy.
What's nice about a location that big is we can go do all of our solo investigations at the same time and not worry about noise contamination, because Dave's up in the attic. I'm on the second floor on the opposite side. You're in Hank's room, wherever that was, and we couldn't even hear each other. So you didn't have to worry about interfering with each other's investigations, which was pretty nice. Although I think your actual solo investigation was at a completely different time, but it doesn't really make a difference.
It was close to where you did yours. I think you and Dave went at the same time.
No, yeah. You did yours separate because you and Dave were using the same camera, so can't do that twice at the same time. But either way,
but to your point, like when we went to the Sally house, we did the 3 upstairs bedrooms, and there's no way we could have done all those at the same time, so we had to do those individually, which is fine. Also.
Which is kind of cool for the Sally house, because the Sally house, like it had the same kind of effect on me that like the Conjuring house did, where it's like when we're all in there, it's kind of whatever, when we're all hanging out in the living room. But when you're in there completely by yourself and everybody's outside, you're like, oh no, I got this house all to myself, you know? So it's a little bit more scary when you do a location like that solo.
This is a good question. Colleen asks if the place was built in pieces because it looks really random. I agree that it looks random on the inside, but on the outside, it's kind of just one big building. It very well could have been added onto, but for a building like that, I guess it would make sense, right? If you have a like some sort of a hospital, and the more the patients you get, the more need for space you have. So you add on to it and add on to it. It is a pretty randomly designed building. Lots of
yeah. When you look at it with like the walkthrough video, it looks like you'd get lost in there, but it is also pretty uniform. Like it's basically one big hallway on the bottom floor and one big hallway on the top. There's a little bit of mazing on the bottom floor because I do think maybe the kitchen or something was an addition, and then you have like the common room that you go into, the captain's room or whatever, when you first walk in. And so once you make it through that little maze and learn your way around, once you're upstairs and you know, going through the patient's room, it's really easy because it is just kind of a big U shape, and you follow that along. But
it's easy to walk through, but trying to remember where each room is for the hauntings is a little tough because there's so many rooms attached to so many different spirits. And you're like, wait, where was Inez's room? Where was
it's funny that you mentioned that, because when I left Susie's room and I was like, oh, I got to go into Inez's room because I think I recognize that name. You couldn't really tell because my night vision camera had died, and that I don't think that was anything paranormal with the battery draining on that. I think the battery just sucks. So that's not ghosts. Probably not. But I left that room, and you couldn't really tell because I'm using the one camera. But I think I walked into 3 rooms before I found the right room because I didn't actually know where it was, and it was only like 2 doors down. But yeah, we walked. It was easy to get lost in, regardless of it was a relatively uniform building, at least on the second floor.
Yeah, it would have been an absolute nightmare to figure out which room was which if each one didn't have such distinguishing factors. Like, for instance, Gracie's room where the mirrors were pulled off the wall. It was very obvious that that was that room. And Inez's room with all the little toys and whatnot. So we were able to kind of navigate. Some of them were still numbered also. We knew which rooms were which numbers. So
yeah. So Dave and I kicked off the investigation by doing a duo investigation in the hallway outside of room 2. That's where there's been some pretty startling reports of like this big, tall shadow figure that would literally chase investigators down the hall. So we were really hoping that that would occur, but it didn't. And we really didn't get much on the equipment at all. We got a little quote unquote orb, probably dust, but we don't know. It was the one thing that was a little bit different about that, and I mentioned it in this video, I didn't mention it in the original investigation video, was that I caught it in real time. So it was like I had seen it not with my naked eye, but watching the little viewfinder thing on the night vision camera. I saw the orb go by. I was like, oh my God, we got an orb. Like, that's kind of cool. And you had said it in the actual video, like, sure it's not dust. I'm like, I don't know, probably was, but it was that was pretty much the only thing we got there. So likely the entire room 2 investigation was a dud. But when we get an orb like that, especially when there wasn't a lot of them. So right after that, with my naked eye, I saw more going by, but when I reviewed the video, I couldn't really see what I was looking at when I had seen more of those orbs go by. But
I think
maybe we're dumb. We're sitting there waiting for a shadow while sitting in the complete dark.
Maybe. We had a little light. There was some light being cast from the REM pod and from the grid sensor. So we had some red lights, but we didn't see much of that. I think if there was no lady in white. I don't know. There was maybe some of these ghosts have been seen wearing white, but we have no real lady in white haunting there.
I think the important thing that you pointed out during this part of the investigation, though, was just how dark this place was when we were using low light or no lights at all. Like, this place is pitch black. It is one of the darkest in terms of just like visibility.
Yeah, even during the day. So when you go in there, all the windows are blacked out. So even if you go in and investigate during the day, it's still pitch black in there.
Yep.
Yeah. This is a great point. And it brings up, so you literally had to ponder an orb. We did ponder the orb. We did. Some call us wizards.
Yes,
we are wizards. But yeah, so it was a good place to kick off the investigation in that hallway. I wish the shadow figure chased you guys, though.
That'd have been cool.
That would have been exciting.
Nobody would have ever believed us.
Yeah,
but it would have been cool. It would have been cool. Brooks asked this, and we went over it extensively actually in our last episode. So, what's the best unrecorded interaction with the other side that you've had? The best that we've had recently was definitely one of the dolls at the Sally house saying goodbye to us. We did record our sheer frustration because this occurred exactly when we turned the cameras off, flipped them right back on because basically a little doll said goodbye to us. You could check that out in the Sally house investigation.
Assume it was a doll.
That's another thing too. And I think I mentioned that too, is like a doll or just a small voice. But yeah, it sounded like it came from a doll.
If that wasn't a doll, I'm never going back to that place.
Fortunately, we have no idea.
It had to be.
It had to be.
It's my God, it had to be. And I would just to follow up on that question before this trip, I would say, at least for me and Jesse, probably seeing the shadow figure at Emily's Bridge, which we did.
That was one of them. I mean, even before we had the show, the shadow figure that scared me the most was one that just appeared by my bed. We've gone over that story a few times, but that was absolutely jarring to a point where I flipped out. Like it takes a lot for me to actually flip out, but that one scared the daylights out of me. Kyle asked this. We'll kind of answer this. We'll get more into this after tomorrow. Tomorrow's our big day to figure out what we're going to do on Saturday besides that investigation. Says off topic, if you considered a campfire in lieu of the investigation that was canceled, that's a possibility. That's our like very last resort, is just do a campfire, tell some ghost stories with some listeners. But
It's funny though, we did actually consider it. We talked about it.
yeah, we've been talking about it. We're like, oh, that's one option. So we're gonna try to do another investigation. That's the idea. We're waiting to hear back from a few different backup locations to do another investigation, but we'll keep you posted on Discord on that one.
Let's do Malvern.
Yeah.
Let's close by.
Yeah. Just everyone get on a bus. We'll drive through the night right after the live show.
Yeah, and the investigation will be Sunday. Yeah.
Yes.
Very true.
So what did we do after? What was the next investigation?
Well, after that was arguably our most active investigation was me and you, Rob. We set up in Gracie's room for the first of the 2 investigations that we did in that room. And during this one, we had the REM pod set up. We had the yes, no box set up. And the REM pod was the start of the show in that one. And we got nothing until you put on her glasses. And it's, we were told that this is what can help to conjure up activity. Oh, Rob actually stole the glasses. There they are now. There's the stolen piece of property. No, he did not. That's a different pair of glasses. But as soon as Rob put on the glasses, actually, we started getting the most perfectly timed responses where I think I had cracked a joke about you finally looking smart, and the REM pod goes off, and I was like, here we go. And
the REM pod was pissed because he absolutely did not look smart.
Yeah, but it was weird though. Like it was like it flipped a switch where we weren't getting anything. We're asking questions. None of the equipment's going off. And then once the glasses were on, then it seemed to respond to certain questions. A lot of them actually. And it was pretty scary stuff. We actually showed like a little zoom in shot of our goose flesh.
That's the worst.
Flesh. That's the worst word for that.
So, it's almost as bad as Dave saying spectacles 15 times on the intro to that room.
15 times in 15 seconds.
That's why the ghost was actually upset. I actually hope that's a residual haunting later in life after you're gone. If Malvern Manor is still doing investigations, people walk in and Dave's just standing there saying spectacles, spectacles, spectacles over and over again.
That's how you conjure my ghost, as you just say spectacles, 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 and I just show up with those dumb glasses on.
The glasses were slightly small for all of us, so it looked really goofy.
It did.
Yes.
But what's weird about this, and more so in the group investigation at the end of the night, was also in this room. And we were all exhausted, and it was so late, and you could tell we were beat. We had just driven from Kansas earlier that day. So we were fatigued. And the spirit box said the word devil. And we're all like, oh, that's scary. It said the word devil. And none of us made the connection that this was the room of the woman who had dissociative personality disorder, who used to shout, the devil is coming to get me. It was that room, and we got devil on the spirit box. And we're all like, oh yeah, that's scary. It's time for bed, right?
Yeah.
But what a connection that would have been nice to pick up on at the time. But in retrospect, it gives it another layer of creepiness.
It does. Yeah. It really makes you think about what kind of message it was trying to tell us, because we got demon twice. We got devil once. We got a very clear communication where it definitely said glasses. So just intelligent communications, but yeah, we weren't intelligent enough to make the connection that was part of her exact quote that, she's known for. So
yeah, if we're being honest with everyone, we were cooked at this point. Like we were still doing the investigation and definitely into it. But right after we finished our last investigation, we're wrapping up. I think we were all I'm always drained after an investigation anyways, but the drain is being as drained as we were. Thank God our Airbnb was,
walking distance.
Distance.
Yeah, this was definitely.
I remember we wrapped up our wrap up and then just looked at the equipment and we're just like, do you think someone else wants it if we leave it? We gotta pack all this shit up. Oh man, yeah, that was a long night. But
it was because we drove from Kansas and we drove to Villisca because we're like, oh yeah, we're going to Villisca next. So we get to the Villisca house and we start setting up, and then somebody else shows up. They're like, no, we have the house tonight. We're like, no way. We check the schedule. We're like, oh no, it's supposed to be in Malvern. So we had to leave, pack back up, drive all the way back to Malvern, and then start the biggest of all of the buildings that we were investigating that weekend. It was a long day.
It was a bit of a blunder.
Yeah.
What was funny is the people that showed up were like, "What are you doing here?" They're like, "What are you doing here?" We're like, "We're filming for a show. We got all this stuff set up." I'm like, "What are you guys doing tonight?" And they're, basically we realized quickly that we thought we were double booked. And they're like, "Yeah, we're just we're here to hang out." I'm like, "Okay, you guys doing some ghost hunting?" They're like, "No." Like, you doing okay, maybe you're fans of true crime. You doing some sort of content? You recording some stuff? They're like, "No." Like, "What are you guys doing?" Like, "Oh, we're just here to hang out."
There's no electricity. Like,
We're just gonna go sit in the dark. Whatever.
The Villisca Axe Murder House is as it was in 1899. There is no electricity. They don't even have the building wired for electricity.
No.
I was like, what are you going to do? You're going to sit in the dark?
There's one air conditioner in the house, and that plugs in for feeding outside to like a little pole that they have. There is literally no electricity in the house at all. It was the weirdest thing to ever say. I was like, all right, well, let's get out of here because this is weird. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah, once we realized it was double booked, we're like, "You know what? We're gonna let you have it tonight."
Yeah.
But
turns out we're in the wrong place.
We'll get more into that next week. But yeah, we did the group investigation. Dave did the attic. Only thing we really got up there was a couple of temperature drops, but again, like, you can't really rule that out. We can't really say it's definitely like a paranormal temperature drop. I mean, it did drop a significant amount. I think it dropped like 7 degrees total, but who's to say that it wasn't going to drop 7 degrees anyways? And also, you were using the surface thermometer.
Yeah, it wasn't an ambient temperature thermometer, so it was just literally whatever direction I was putting it in, you could get slight variation. 7 degrees is kind of a lot for that, but it was probably nothing.
Yeah, a bit of a letdown. That doesn't mean that if you go investigate there, that something horrible won't happen up in the attic or something horrifying. But for the reputation that it had, where that's the most violently haunted area in the entire house, for it to be a complete dud for your investigation, that kind of sucks. But I mean, maybe if we had gone back up, if we had more time or another night, maybe we would have gone up there with a different kind of setup of equipment and seen if it would react to something else. But for our visit for that night, didn't get much up there. But some horrifying claims out of there. Some of the shadow figures people have seen. Torso.
Yeah. There's the torso. There's our opening ghost story mentioned the arm protruding out of the wall. That was a real haunting account that somebody had there, that one of the nurses who worked there said. You get scratching sounds. You get, people who are up there, that mostly investigators will just throw up from the intense energy shifts. You get disembodied growling. There's investigators get scratched and burned on the back. Some people, when they go there, they claim to feel drawn to the attic. So there's that frightening feeling that people experience. And then there's the apparition of a disheveled man that people have claimed to have seen up there. There are little shadow figures that dart across the floor back and forth.
Also
up there.
just you.
They're no, those are much smaller. They're about 2 to 3 feet tall. And it's unpredictable. So there's all sorts of different haunting accounts that occur all times of day and night up in the attic. And this is like notoriously the most haunted section of the entire building, but not for me.
Yeah. A lot of people pointing out that the storm could have caused the temperature fluctuations. Absolutely.
I don't think so, because the storm had started long before I was up there and continued throughout the entire duration. So it was consistent weather on the other outside. So, I mean, I don't know. Maybe.
But either way, I think just because there's a surface thermometer, again, if you pointed at a different floorboard, it could be a different temperature. You were pointing it in the same spot each time. But again, we're not saying that it was a haunting that caused a temperature drop. We're just saying that that's the only strange thing that occurred while Dave was up there.
Yeah, so, you're not going to see a 7-degree difference in temperature. What I would say is if I saw a 7-degree temperature drop and something else happened at the same time, I might associate the two things together. But whereas it was just by itself, probably just fluctuation in temperatures.
Yep.
You know what I hope is an intelligent haunting in the attic in the future, long after we're gone again? We had to film our opening ghost story in there, and we had to put Jesse in a suit. And I hope that you're haunting the attic in that suit in the future, Jesse.
I had a lot of fun in that suit.
You got to post some of the videos of you in the suit in Patreon.
I don't know.
I have a
That
couple.
suit, that suit was very revealing for my perfect figure. I don't know. I'll have to approve any posts before they go up. But
Fair enough.
but it was very silly. The best was I think either Andrew or Seth, one of our brothers, FaceTimed us. Just happened to be while I was wearing the suit. I'm like, well. Very slippery.
Yes, it was amazing.
Donnie asked if it was a penguin suit. Almost.
Next time, though.
Yeah. Next time.
Trigger object, Jesse in a penguin suit.
Yep. So we got the penguin communication, which might have been my that's the most excited I've ever gotten over a spirit box communication. Because I cut that clip down. I was really begging that thing to say penguin for a long time. Like, I kept giving it hints. I went through, tell me the colors. I got what sounded like it said black. I got something that sounded like it said it's white. So I got the colors of the penguin. I got a few communications before that very clear one that sounded kind of like it said penguin, but I wanted that solid one. And then I got one that, when I listened back to that one in particular, I don't think there's any other word that it could have said there. Now, these spirit box communications, again, they're a little bit subjective where you kind of hear what you want to hear. I thought that was the most clear word of penguin that you're going to get out of that thing. I thought it was very, very clear. And that was cool because it was a penguin. And the penguin was never actually in the room. Not that the spirit box can see what we're looking at, but so the penguin was in the hallway, and it identified it. And then I went and I brought it in. And what was crazy was I was like, give it a name. And when I listened back to the audio, I'm hearing name after name. I'm hearing Patrick, Mallory. I heard a Good Night Spirits, which isn't a name, but it was a weird thing to say. I heard my own name, Jesse. Like, this is in me reviewing it live when I was trying to get an answer out of it. I didn't catch any of that until I played back the audio. I'm like, there's names everywhere. It's giving me name after name after name after name. There was like 8 or 9 of them, and it probably would have kept going. But I was like, give it a name. And I was like, all right, we'll deal with that later. But yeah, I thought there was a lot of names there. I think the most clear ones out of that was when it said Jesse, which is always jarring, and Mallory. Mallory was a pretty clear one that came through. The other ones, maybe not, but I thought I heard Pete and a couple other names, which is pretty cool. So we named a penguin, and everything was going fine. I was having a lot of fun. And then my spirit box just dropped off the table. Now, it's pitch black. I did not see what could have knocked it over. I know I didn't bump into anything. The room wasn't too shaky. Certain rooms you'll go in and just your footsteps, like all the furniture shaking.
Yeah, everything just drops everywhere.
Yeah, this wasn't one of those rooms. The room was solid. I was at least 5, maybe 6 feet away from this thing. And I'm over here. I'm like, all right, I'm going to go. And then just boom, it just tips over and falls off the table. I panned over to it with the flashlight. Unfortunately, like I said, I only had one camera going, but you could see the batteries scattered across the floor. And that just scared the shit out of me. I was like, well, that was fun until it wasn't. And then, Hartwick says it was Hank. Yeah, might have been angry old Hank.
I think I did ruin your penguin moment. I think that we need to rewind a little bit though, because before you even got to the penguin stuff and the spirit box crashing, when you were talking about this with the spirit box about something in the attic, and you asked if there was a spirit in the attic, and it said there's one. Mm-hmm. That voice that says there's one is deep, insanely clear, and a terrifying voice. It is a scary voice that deep, says there's one.
Voice that said, it said it kind of slowly too, so it was at least over 3 different frequencies where there's one. Yeah, sounded like a narrator for a early 1900s horror movie. It was terrifying stuff. Yeah, but also a very concerning thing to say. But again, there was no activity up there in the attic. But maybe it was just talking about Dave. Maybe it was just talking about Dave's spirit up in the attic.
Maybe it was whatever spirit followed me from the Sally house.
Could have been that.
Maybe that's why none of the other spirits wanted to talk to me up there. They're all
this is a great point from Pops. It says maybe the penguin was given to more than one patient, each giving it a different name.
Oh, great call.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Possibly.
Or multiple spirits in the room with you naming it as well.
Oh, good point too.
Oh, that's even scarier to think about.
Yeah. So, I mean, you were in Inez's room, which is right next to, was it?
It was close to Susie's room. I think
Susie's
it was
room.
2 doors down, I think.
Hank's room was close to there as well, I think. So, I mean, and again, there's tons of patients' rooms around there just because we don't know we might not know all the patients that are still haunting the building. So
Not only that, like who's to say that ghosts don't move around from room to room, floor to floor, could be inside the building, outside the building, you know, like everybody, when they identify a ghost in a haunted building, they say this is that ghost's room. But who's to say that ghost is roaming around the house? It could be anywhere in the house. So,
Yep.
You never know. You never know.
yeah, but it was overall, I'm really glad we went here. I mean, I know we say this about a lot of places, but I would definitely go back and do the Malvern Manor again. And if you do go here, there's a great Airbnb that's within walking distance. That's a converted old church that you should book. Very affordable.
Church.
Very
Arch
cool.
Church. Yeah.
There is a hidden bed. Make sure if you have enough people,
Yeah.
you find the hidden bed.
Yeah. We were there for 2 nights. First night, we didn't realize there was a third bed. So we all slept in one bed.
Yeah. Then we found the other bed and we all slept in one bed still.
Yeah. We moved to that bed. So, that was our night at the Malvern Manor. Again, go check out the full investigation video if you haven't already. You could see kind of extended versions of those clips that we played on this one. Book it yourself. They're taking bookings, so you can book the Malvern Manor if you're in Iowa. And again, it's a short drive from Villisca, not too far from where else to be? From
The Sally House.
The Sally House, so you can kind of do it all in one trip if you plan accordingly.
Yeah, but the Malvern Manor, if you're booking that, book it pretty far in advance because they are heavily booked. I was actually surprised. I think it's awesome for them. But when we were trying to book our trip, they were booked heavily in advance. So make sure that you're checking their calendar there.
Absolutely. Yeah. But yeah, great location to investigate. It's like I said, it's kind of like frozen in time, which is pretty cool. A lot of the stuff is original to the house. A lot of people will bring in like trigger objects, or they'll bring in gifts to give to the spirits and stuff like that. So some of the stuff, I don't know who knows if that penguin was actually there when the hospital was in operation, but it's there now. And go try on the pair of spectacles. See if you get anything with the spectacles, and maybe the spectacles will work for you. It'll be quite the spectacle.
And you might hear Dave say it 300 times as well.
Yeah. So again, go check it out and see our investigation on Malvern Manor. And next week, Ohio.
Oh yeah.
Yep. Next week, Ohio, or Friday, we're going to be dropping the investigation video for Ohio. So
Yep.
the Licking County Jail. You can
Rob's-
see our investigation there.
Rob's favorite state. That's right.
It's not. We were talking, and we talked about this in chat a little bit, but condemned buildings, if there was a condemned state, it would be Ohio.
$50 in super chat from Donnie. Says, have a great live show. Thank you so much. We appreciate that. Yeah, should be a good time. Again, that's this Friday. So if you're not going to be able to make it to the live show, make it to the live premiere of the Licking County Jail investigation video, which will be right about the same time that we take the stage. Which you'll be able to watch us on stage, just watching our own investigation on our phones.
That's what the live show is. It's
it's
an artistic piece.
It's an artistic piece. You get to watch us watch our live show on our phones.
Yeah.
Come watch us for an hour.
So entertaining. But yeah. Anyways, any reviews to go over?
Yeah, speaking of the live show, Colleen, who is coming to the live show, she left us a 5-star review on Apple, but Apple is weird sometimes and they don't post it. So she emailed it over to us and she titled it, "If the World Was Fair. This podcast is brilliant. I've been listening for over a year and have enjoyed each episode several times over. If the world was a fair place, these guys would be billionaires." I agree, as the entertainment value of the podcast is unparalleled. They do fantastic research, weave brilliant stories, make you laugh, and leave you feeling like you have hung out with friends. So thank you so much, Colleen. That is an awesome review. Cool. We appreciate that so much.
Very nice. Thank you for that.
Yes. And you also can leave us a 5-star review. If you write something out, you can write it out on Spotify. Leave us a 5-star there. You can leave a comment on an episode. If you title it 5 stars, we'll read it out. You can leave a 5-star on Apple. If you leave it on another thing, email us because I don't see everything. And there's a lot of weird podcast platforms that I don't even know where to look to find that stuff.
Just copy and paste in an email. Let us know where you left it and we'll read it up.
Yes.
Lots of fun. You can also join Patreon. $3 a month will get you there. That helps us do more live investigations. And starting with our VIPs, let's thank our patrons. We have Wyatt Fox. We have insert your weekly PD Pablo reference here. Donnie, Karen S. Rob hid this episode's pirates in his belly button. That's why he didn't get any. No pirates in Iowa. Stuck at work on a spooky Tuesday. Ryan F. Jennifer A. submitted for the approval of the Midnight Society. I call this story Rob freaking out during solo investigations. Casey W. Brandina 77. Kathy F. Ghost Nurse JP. Another Vice. Professor Rob's Wiener Vino. Okay, Tyler, thank you. West Virginia, coal miner, Tess. I don't speak bird, but I do be flapping. Kate and Steve M, Joseph S, Glitter Tees, Cami from Washington, Siobhan, not Sharon, Kelly C, Jennifer P, Liz Young, Chris C, LBPS founder, Peach Smoothie, Donnie N, Justin T. Are we active?
I don't think so.
Not active. It's always when I get to Peach Smoothie.
We always know that. That's how we always know.
Yep.
We should get PD Pablo on the show at some point, is what I think we should do.
Probably wouldn't be a difficult get.
We do have an awesome guest coming up in the next couple weeks.
It's true.
Should we tell everyone?
Yeah, it's PD Pablo. We have Kelly C, Liz Young, Chris C, Inspires Gaming, Allison V, Robert H, Penguin. Janine, Raven Lunatic, Mom and Pops, W, Father Squatch the Elder, Lisa J, and I went to Rafferty's and was arrested for theft.
It's not PD Pablo. We didn't finish that.
Yeah.
We are going to have Bridget Marquardt from the Ghost Bunny podcast. You might know her from The Girls Next Door. She'll be on in a couple weeks, and we will be on her show as well.
Very excited for that. We have You Guys Are the Best. Linda F. What's black and white and excites Jesse? Penguin. By the way, this is the Warren's Awards tier. Robin W., Crystal V., Colleen D., Joe and the Dogs, Freya and Frank, Mothman gathers ghouls for ghostly shoveling service, Masshole Medic, Susan C., T-Cat, Whisper. Rob's belly button is the best glory hole. No lint. 10 out of 10. Jeremy M., The Macho Mandolf, Beth C., Sarah B., Her Lady, Spookship, Victim of Ohio, Morgan S., Colby always remembers, Kath Q., The Other, Rachel B., Resting Witch Face, Mar Fire, Lily, Anthony, hey Dave, give me a cool nickname and I'll make it my Patreon name T.
Do it now.
On the spot?
On the spot. Do it.
I can't do it on the spot.
Oh, wow. Fail.
Who's taller, Dave or the doll that sat up? Are we sure there wasn't just one bed booked on purpose? That was quick. Ghosts, ghouls, Ghostbusters, Ghosties, Ghost Rob, Seth on guitar. Dave doesn't know where Tennessee is, but physics, no problem. Thank you so much for being part of the Warren's Awards. And finally, we shall hop into the Ghost Pirate Mafia. Let's kick that off with the legendary Jet L, Rachel P, Jody L, Chicky Ticky 67, Tez F, FM Cop. Dave uses a map to place his thermometer laser.
Yeah.
This is not a shuttle. Moon. Patrice R, Cammy and Steve R, Dana D, Shag Tudabone 33. I have a penguin in a silk suit haunting my attic. That sounds horrifying. GS Warrior, Cult of the Miscellany, GOB, Grim B, D loves ketchup on eggs, just ghostly, Witchy Kitty 416, Karen L, Michael M, Amber R, Brant C, Shane O'Mac, Joe, Christina S, Kate C, Kelly C, bloop, bloop, bloop. Cowboys are the worst franchise ever. Miss Macabre, Nuroku, Rachel G, Cold Warrior. Rob is to blame for the hunt being canceled. Shame on Rob.
That's not.
Yeah, Rob also doubles as a building inspector. He went in and just shut it down. D from H-Town, Meta A, Monster Mom 04, Wicked Alley, Dark Snark. Here is a life hack. Press the diet button on your McDonald's soda lid so it goes into diet mode and you don't get fat. Thank you.
Life hack.
Personal trainer, Doug. Thank you, Doug. Megan S, Arcade Hunters, Wayne C, Crystal Quinn can confirm that Rob has a weird belly button. Thick Boy Freddy's baby mama was definitely yeeted. Alicia E. Hopefully Thick Boy Freddy's mom's okay. But baby mama definitely yeeted. Thick Boy Freddy allegedly went to Rafferty's and all I got was a lousy clock. No thanks to Rob. The Patreon name is this Patreon name is super funny and relevant and will make everyone write LOL in chat.
Go ahead.
Do it.
Sam from Nepal, Joe R. Al Capone is looking for a tax guy. Huggy Bear, what do you get when you cross an elephant and a rhino? Elefino.
Alfino.
You like that. Anna C, Solar Flare, Mariah M, Kiralee J, Cody G, Hoopily Woopily, Soph, and I'm sorry, sir, you are Theophilus. There is no cure. So that is the Patreon list. You can hop on Patreon. $3 a month will get you there. Ad-free episodes, early access to content, bonus episodes, all sorts of goodies. You get some sneak peeks with some walkthroughs of the haunted locations that we visit, and all sorts of good stuff on Patreon. A lot of behind-the-scenes stuff. So consider joining. And,
Possibly a blooper reel coming at you for the Midwest trip.
Oh, there's a lot of bloopers.
Oh, yeah.
New show idea. What if we go hype up an investigation we're about to do, and just every time right before we start, I shut it down as the building inspector?
That's a good idea.
It'll be a much shorter night for us. We won't be exhausted anymore. One final Patreon name we just got, Damien Blue. So welcome in, Damien. Just signed up on Patreon. Thank you so much for joining the Ghost Pirate Mafia.
Sweet. Welcome.
Yeah. Tune in Friday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you're not at the live show, tune in to the live YouTube premiere of our investigation at the Licking County Jail in Ohio. Probably one of the coolest looking locations that we've ever investigated. I've always dreamt of investigating a prison, and this was one of them. So tune in 9 p.m. or come to the show.
Come to the
We
show.
prefer you just came to the show, but we also want people watching. So live show, Weymouth, Barrel House Z, and keep an eye on Discord or the email for updates on Saturday. There will be something. We don't know what that is yet, but we'll figure it out. So
We'll make it work.
yeah, we'll make something work. We'll make it fun regardless.
Yes.
Let's just go to Lizzie's Coffee anyways.
Hey, we swore not to say that name anymore. We will not be going to Lizzie's Coffee on Saturday. That's where we will not be. But anyways, that'll pretty much do it. We'll see you guys on Friday. Thanks again for everybody who donated, which includes Lockwood and Company, Whisper, Crazy Legs, Hannah Rose, and Donnie with $50 in Super Chat. Absolute legends. We thank you so much for that. And we'll see you guys next time for another episode of Hometown Ghost Stories.
Peace.